Obviously, trade has been a topic of discussion and will continue to be. But
after a week of tweets, tariffs, and turmoil, finally some laughs.
Justin has agreed to cut all tariffs and all trade barriers between Canada and the United States. So I'm very happy about that.
So I'd say NAFTA's in good shape.
But we are actually working on it.
A light moment on a heavy topic.
Our relationship is very good. We are actually working on cutting tariffs and making it all very fair for both countries.
Nice words, but the tariffs are still there and NAFTA is still in limbo. And while the G7 can happily pose for a family photo, this is still a family with problems. Even before he made his way to La Malbaie, the black sheep of that family jolted the G7 once more.
They threw Russia out. They should let Russia come back in because we should have Russia at the negotiating table.
He's already started a trade war. He now wants the group to reopen its arms to Russia, which was kicked out of the former G8 4 years ago for annexing Crimea, and is the prime suspect in multiple attempts to hack Western elections.
But let's leave 7 as it is. It's a lucky number.
The idea of adding Russia flopped with the leaders of the EU. It was flatly rejected by Canada.
Russia, however, made clear that it had no interest in behaving according to the rules of Western democracies.
The unpredictability highlights the challenges the G7 leaders face in dealing with the U.S. president, who can be tougher on his allies than his enemies. In today's meeting, which sources say were cordial, the other leaders tried to convince the president to drop his tariffs and stop a trade war. So a smiling and joking Trump emerged, the angry tweeter nowhere to be seen. There was even a hint of compromise.
Can you come to an agreement on a joint statement?
We'll see you guys.
I think we'll have a joint statement.
And earlier this evening, I spoke to David, who is at the summit site. David, what do we know about what happened in the private meeting between Trudeau and Trump after the cameras left?
Well, Ian, officials are saying it was a positive and constructive meeting, and the two leaders have agreed that they would accelerate the NAFTA talks, but we are being cautioned by Canadian officials to take that with a grain of salt. We have heard this before. It hasn't always gone that way, but there is at least a sense after a tough week of goodwill between the two countries while the leaders are meeting here face to face. The question is if that goodwill remains after Donald Trump leaves Quebec and gets back on Twitter.
And there was doubt about a final joint communique. What are we hearing about that now?
Yeah, the president suggested that maybe there could be a joint statement, but the president says a lot of things that don't often come true. There is deep doubt here amongst Canadian officials that that could happen because there are still deep divisions on two key issues, trade and climate. The U.S. delegation is insisting that the final document has no reference whatsoever to tariffs and trade. The other 6 nations are balking at that. It's a non-starter for them, and that could be what causes them to not have a united statement when this G7 meeting ends.